Hey, soldiers, we've got a very powerful sitting United States Senator. He's also the chair of a very powerful Senate committee, coming out and saying point blank he has lost faith in the U.S. banking system and is very troubled about our current economic situation here in this country. Wait until I share with you this man's exact words. Now, first of all, who am I talking about? Senator Robert Menendez. Yes, the same Robert Menendez that has been recently indicted by federal authorities in conjunction with a bribery scheme. Wait until you hear what he has to say, because yes, the bribery and the charges, yes, that's news, but what's the biggest news story of this day, all right, and it is the 25th of September, and should be the biggest news story for the month, quite frankly, in terms of financial news at least, is the fact that a sitting United States Senator has lost faith in this economic system. And why should he have any faith in it when we are beyond $33 trillion in debt, steaming full speed ahead toward $34 trillion in debt? No sign of slowing down. Americans have collected over $1 trillion in credit card debt. Inflation still roars, and Americans are also saddled with at least $1.7 trillion in student loan debt. So $1.7 trillion in student loan debt, over $1 trillion in credit card debt. Housing is more expensive than ever. People are finding it very difficult to pay their rent. Why should you have faith in what's going on right now? One senator does not. Let me bring you up to speed with these charges. Senator Bob Menendez has been indicted again for corruption. Allegedly, he had cash stuffed in his coat, as well as some other items we'll go over. A federal grand jury in New York has returned a sweeping indictment against United States Senator Bob Menendez. He is a Democrat serving in New Jersey. He's a senior senator from New Jersey, and he's also the chairman of the powerful Foreign Relations Committee. They've charged him in connection with improper foreign relations and business dealings. The investigation focused on items ranging from a luxury car, an apartment received by his wife, and some other items. The indictment charges Menendez, who is 69 years old, and his wife with having a corrupt relationship with 3 New Jersey businessmen. Their names are Walhana, Jose Uribe, and Fred Daides. I hope I pronounced their names correctly. The indictment accuses Menendez and his wife of accepting hundreds of thousands of dollars of bribes in exchange for using the senator's power and influence to seek to protect and enrich the businessman. Listen, guys, when people talk about the fall of the Roman Empire, understand that that was not an overnight process. What seeped in was a culture of corruption, androgyny. Okay, we're seeing some of that also. And just a pure elitism that made the emperors and, other officials operate under the belief that, they could act with impunity. And look, here's what we'll do. We'll institute a policy called bread and circuses, and we will distract the masses by giving them some freebies and games, gladiatorial games and free bread, free beer. We'll let them see different chariot races and stuff like that over at the Coliseum. That'll keep them occupied while we basically mismanage the whole empire and misappropriate the wealth, put it into our own pockets. We're seeing a version of that occur here in the United States today. Now, the bribes that he's accused of taking, and these are allegations, those bribes included cash, gold payments, gold payments toward a home mortgage, compensation for a low or no-show job, a luxury vehicle, and other things of value. This is according to the indictment. So let's look at those first 3. Cash. Okay. What was he doing with the cash? You'll find that interesting. We'll get to that in a second. Gold. All right. Very interesting, right? We're talking about gold bars. Physical gold, not a gold ETF. Gold bars. Payments toward a home mortgage, so essentially real estate as well. Okay, these are the forms of compensation, illicit compensation he's receiving allegedly for these for his influence peddling, for his alleged influence peddling. Now, the man had $100,000 of gold in his residence, according to the indictment. $100,000 worth of gold. Now, we've talked about gold here on the channel a lot, right? In terms of it being a store of value, a way to preserve your purchasing power, something that many cultures have looked at over, the time of human history as a safe haven when fiat currencies start to fail, all right? Bob Menendez would be, this guy would be one of the chief among us in the know to understand that this system is failing, right? We have got over $33 trillion of debt, as I mentioned earlier. We're still spending like crazy, and other countries are starting to realize this. We did the video talking about how Japan, China, and Saudi Arabia are really slowing down on their purchases of U.S. debt, using that money to buy what? Gold. Okay, same as Senator Menendez is allegedly taking bribes in this shiny yellow metal. Now, here's what he said that should tell us everything we need to know about the faith that this powerful policymaker has in our economy. He held a press conference today, the 25th of September, and he said during that press conference, the allegations leveled against me are just that. Allegations. True enough. He said also, when he gave this speech, he gave it at a local community college. Gave it at a community college because he wants to seem like a man of the people now, right? Not someone who is, at the top of the food chain from a policy standpoint. Not someone who allegedly has $100,000 worth of gold hidden in his, closet, right? So he's at a community college. He claimed that the $480,000 in cash that was in his home and seized by the U.S. government, it was found stuffed in envelopes and hidden in clothing closets. He claimed that $500,000 in cash was for emergencies. Now, guys, we've talked about the emergency fund here. We just did a video on it the other day. But my God, we talked about having 3 months worth of expenses in that account. Are you telling me he's got 3 months worth of expenses that total up to $500,000? Not likely. But this is the emergency he's talking about. This is a quote. For 30 years, I have withdrawn thousands of dollars in cash from my personal savings account, which I have kept for emergencies, and because of the history of my family facing confiscation in Cuba, he claimed, adding, and that was a quote, guys, facing confiscation in Cuba, unquote. He added, quote, now this may seem old-fashioned, but these were monies drawn from my personal savings account based on the income that I have legally derived over those 30 years. So this man is saying that although he's a senator here, and if you walk up to any senator in the United States of America and say, hey, do you believe that we will ever face a situation in this country such as Cubans faced under Castro, where they had their property appropriated by the government, i.e. stolen? Do you think that we will face a situation like that? Of course, Menendez is going to say, absolutely not. The United States of America, right? But in his personal actions, he's actually hoarding cash and gold and allegedly using bribes to pay off his real estate. Gold, cash, real estate. Sounds like that. They would call us a prepper. They would say, we're conspiracy theory. What the hell are you doing? You got all this money in your sock drawer? You're crazy. I bet you got canned goods in the basement, right? Ammunition. But this Democrat senator is doing it. And is anybody asking him why he feels this way. We know why he feels this way. Okay, so, hey, look, take a page out of Menendez's book. Make sure you get your emergency account set up. Now, I'm not suggesting you keep all that money in your house. Wow, talk about a security risk, right? Gold and $500,000 in cash. The man had approaching $1 million in his house. All right? So look, the moral of this story is very simple. This United States senator obviously does not have faith in the U.S. economy because he's hoarding cash. And look, some will say, well, if he was taking bribes, he wouldn't have been able to deposit that money. But he's saying this cash was not the result of bribes. It was a result of him taking money from his check over the last 30 years and just putting it in his house. All right. So he's, does he think we're going the way of Cuba? I wouldn't rule it out. Not with what we're facing in terms of our economy today. So guys, look, it is what it is. Watch this video for more information on why he might be thinking the way he's thinking. And guys, I'll talk to you soon.